are recording. Welcome to episode 3 of Faint Praise. I'm Toni.
I'm Eric.
This is a podcast where we compare movies with similar themes by scoring them in a few different categories in order to decide which one did it better. This week we decided to go with movies about invading alien space bugs.
We didn't even actually come up with a good bug pun. Maybe by the time you're hearing this, I'll have a good pun for the title.
Yeah, that's Eric's homework between now and when we get this.
Really punny with the bugs.
Yeah, get this posted somewhere. Some good bug pun,
Something
hopefully.
about infestation or bug spray or
so the specific
crabs,
movies,
something like that.
Crabs. So the specific movies we're talking about are Ender's Game versus Starship Troopers. Even though I know these movies aren't necessarily all that similar,
it actually starts out incredibly similar if you go with the widest possible, most obtuse explanation, and then gets increasingly less similar. Like if you're just like futuristic bugs launch their enemies at you.
What? Launch their enemies.
Well, yeah, because the general plot is that the bugs from a far planet get launched at Earth.
Yeah, both of these are based on futuristic human societies that are centered around fighting alien
Insectoid invaders.
Yeah, alien bugs that have invaded them at some point. They're both based on science fiction book source material that I think both of them are fairly classic books. I know Ender's Game is very classic.
Oh yeah, and Starship Troopers was a
Starship Troopers.
novel.
Yeah, and both of them I did read the books. I don't remember too much about them.
And I actually read neither of them.
Yeah. And I thought
I'm
that
illiterate.
we both of us had seen Starship Troopers before this, so we both knew we liked
I saw it
it.
in the theaters when I was younger.
I did not. I just watched it once, probably 10 years ago. I liked it just fine. Didn't have much of an idea about it. I didn't think Ender's Game was going to be very good because it just looked boring from the trailers. And I looked them up on Rotten Tomatoes, and they both actually have very similar Rotten Tomatoes scores. 60% for Ender's Game, and
Which is higher than I would have thought.
And 63% for Starship Troopers.
Which is also higher than I would have thought, honestly.
You think so? Yeah.
Just based on the critics and type of people that.
So I was struck by the
reviews.
So I was struck by the similar premises. Yeah. And similar Rotten Tomatoes scores, thought they would make a good comparison. Well, not to give too much away, but this is probably, even though it's only episode 3, I don't anticipate another episode this lopsided.
I mean, sure, it could happen. It depends.
It could,
especially if we haven't seen the movies before.
It's not necessarily my intention to do unfair matchups, but this one, I mean, this is a heavyweight beaten up.
Yeah, it's
an invalid.
You've got Paul Verhoeven ultraviolence versus a Mormon space love opera or something. I don't know what the fuck you'd call it.
A Mormon child fantasy about ruling the world.
But then feeling bad about it.
Yeah. Oh man. So we watched Ender's Game first because we already knew what we were getting into with Starship Troopers. We knew that we would like it, so we went with the unknown.
We knew that it was
first.
At least decent and everything. So
right. So Ender's Game was done in 2013. Like we said before, futuristic human society.
Has it been that long since it came out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it just seems
came
like...
and went.
It seems like yesterday. So it's the society that alien bugs had at one point invaded and almost taken over Earth until this one pilot, Mazer Rackham, defeated them, ostensibly dying in the meantime. And then this guy became a military icon, and now this society supposedly picks out gifted children and trains them from a young age to become military leaders for some reason.
Yeah, that's the one thing, without getting into too much of the just ratings, I never read the book. I had a general idea, I think mostly from you, about what the book was about.
Yeah.
But in the movie, as someone who hasn't seen the book, the entire premise of the movie is only explained with one throwaway line.
Yes.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yes.
About how you have to teach children to be the great military leaders because children's minds handle complex information better or something. And first of all, you're like, that's not true. Second of all, that doesn't make any sense for this
honestly,
world.
I knew I wasn't going to like the movie because I didn't like the book.
And I hate kids.
Yeah. Eric,
why did I watch this movie?
I don't know how I convinced him to do it because he does not tend to like
for punishment.
Yeah, he does not tend to like movies centered around children.
And to be honest, this is a very well-regarded book.
It is.
A lot of sci-fi fans like Ender's Game.
Yeah, I that always has confused me. I read it because I like science fiction books. and I had it highly recommended to me. I knew it was a classic. And about the first 2/3 of the book, actually, I will say I found compelling, and it completely fell apart in the last third for me. But that definitely influences the movie. The movie did plenty of stuff wrong on its own. But
it
in
also
my opinion,
suffered from flawed source material.
Exactly. The source material was weak in my...
Well, for
my worldview, it doesn't really fit into
a few elements of it that people really got like sci-fi boners about.
I don't really know.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't know what about the book would have made, because I don't think they strayed that far from the material.
Oh no, this is one of those movies that practically just opens up the book and starts reading lines from it. And the parts
there are a few minor exceptions, but
yeah, I mean, in the book, the children start. It follows your main.
Do they pretend that Major Rackham is supposed to be dead?
I believe so, yes.
Which, by the way, I will say that for the whole movie, I thought they were saying Major Rackham. And then they're like, Colonel Major Rackham. Wait, what?
Yeah.
His name is Mazer?
Yeah, whenever we watch...
Blade and laser and blaze, all kind of Azers.
Whenever we watch these military movies, Eric is former military, so he always starts to kind of pick apart the...
Well, I'm just confused sometimes, because I don't really care if they come up with their own system. But when it goes against what's normal, I'm like, wait, why is this guy...
It's just confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just confusing to someone who's already been in the system. The story follows, we've already said, Ender Wiggins, who is this child that is recruited because he's supposedly very gifted and shows a lot of promise. He shows him going through this various levels of military training.
And high school or whatever.
Yeah. In I think he's supposed to be probably an older middle schooler.
I thought he was
or
only
young...
supposed to be like 12 or 13. Maybe.
Well, the actor himself was 16.
He was 16 in that?
Yes. He was 16.
She looks like me when I was 16.
Yeah. And I think his voice was just dropping too. He had a lot of voice cracking going on.
I thought he was a really tall 12-year-old.
He was really tall. I'm going to talk about
that.
that.
He was like 5'11" or something.
Yeah, he's 6 feet tall.
Is he?
So
At
he's
like
this really,
16?
Yeah, really, really tall kid.
But weighs like 120 pounds.
Yeah. So it follows Ender Wiggins going through military training and his interactions with the other children that he's training with, sort of trying to set up him being this military genius, whatever.
While they wait for to finish off the bug. Because they beat the bugs the first time and they're worried they're going to come back. And so they have to, for some reason, have kids trained to be ready to fight the bugs.
Yeah.
Which I forget what they're called, the crackheads or something.
It
was with a K or something. Krakatoas.
It does not matter at all.
Crinkles.
I don't care. I could look it up. I have the Wikipedia page
open.
Look it up.
No, my brain hasn't been working lately. I need
They
to know
are the Formics.
Where'd I get the K?
I think you got the K from Clendathu from Starship Troopers.
Okay, Formics.
Yeah, so the Formics, like Eric said, they're worried that the bugs are going to come back. So that's why they've been training these children for some reason.
Apparently they can see the bug planet and they can see that the bugs are way overpopulated and they're massing for a movement of some kind is what they said in the movie.
Okay. So when Ender has done enough of his training and they pick out Ender and a few of the other really good kids and they put them to a super elite training facility.
In space!
Yeah. Super elite training facility and put them through a series of high-level tests.
Like laser tag.
Yeah. Well, no. That was part of their original training was the lame laser tag. I'm saying after he shows
when he goes to command school.
When he goes to command school and they put him through what they're calling the ultimate exam that they say are battle simulations.
Yeah.
Of course, it turns out to be real, and they've just had these kids actually invading the bug planet. And
another point from someone who hasn't read the book, and I did actually know that was the general plot of the book, so I knew it going in. But from the perspective of watching the movie, they don't really tell you that. I mean, maybe they give a little bit of a hint, but if you had no idea what the story is about, you're thinking the main climax of this movie is his big simulation test in battle camp.
Why would I care
about? Not that you would care about them anyway, but it gives even less of a sense of it. Because one of the things I wrote down was that this movie, you have no sense that the Earth is in any kind of danger,
right?
Because they don't explain anything. You have no sense of what's good or bad for the characters because they're doing all these tests where you don't know what they're supposed to do. You don't know what's bad if it happens, what's good if it happens.
Yeah, they're putting him through these quote-unquote battle simulations that he doesn't know that they're real.
Well, they're all watching tersely.
Yeah. It's extremely apparent to me, and it was when I was reading the book, too, that they were real. So the big reveal that, it was real, and he actually just destroyed this whole alien planet had absolutely no impact on me, but that's that's it. So he destroys the planet. He's all upset because he just committed genocide. Wah, wah, wah. And so he goes to wander off into the wilderness of whatever.
100 feet from the base.
Yeah, and finds a dormant alien bug queen and telepathically talks to it.
And he's like, sorry, bro.
Yeah, and it explains why they had invaded in the first place.
Which they didn't in the movie.
And it apologizes. They didn't explain that in the movie?
No, you didn't hear anything that the bug was saying. It just goes like, gives it a sad bug face, and it's like, me, 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 me. And he was already sad about having wiped out an entire race for whatever reason. Yeah. Even though the only reason humans were even around is because they'd won the first time.
Yeah.
And they're just like, whoops, my bad. Stop hitting us now.
Yeah.
Like, no, fuck you.
All right, so now that we've given you the general synopsis,
we go into why it's
we're gonna
stupid.
what we do is we have 3 categories that we score every movie on. The categories are acting, visuals, and structure, and each one of us will give a score of anywhere from 0 to 5 points in each of the categories, and then we'll total up all the points that each movie gets between me and Eric, and whichever movie gets the most points is the winner of that's the one that did the theme better. So starting with our first category, acting, what's your score?
I mean, this movie was annoying in a lot of sense with the characters, but overall the acting wasn't that bad. I put it 2 because it was below average, but it's not looking at that movie. It's not like you can say, "Man, that was terrible acting."
Yeah.
It's just like not good.
Yeah, I was worried you were going to go higher. I did 1.5 because part of what
there
I
weren't
look
a whole
at,
lot of people in that movie.
Part of what I look at with acting is also how well the characters were cast. So so you always forget that. So yes, part of the acting is how well each actor fits into. I think that's more.
I don't know if I consider that structure or what, or if I just forget to include it.
Whatever. So a couple of times we've done this where I've given it a lower score than you because I'm including how well the actor fit into that part,
which is bad for a lot of the characters.
Which is terrible. It's just
for
atrocious.
Most of them.
Yeah. So I'm including casting. I'm including chemistry between
I include that type of stuff,
between the characters
which is
and
also
the actors.
Bad.
And it was very, very bad.
It was all bad, but I don't think I would have put it at abysmal. Maybe just because the rest of the movie is so bad, you don't notice that shit as much as you would.
I think the reason that
I just said like it wasn't good acting.
So a 1.5 out of 5 is pretty bad.
Yeah.
A 3 is totally average. You didn't really notice it either way. A 2 is you noticed it throughout the movie that it was.
And then you're right, though, and that's what I said
good.
about the acting. When you include the chemistry and the casting, it was really bad.
Yeah,
it was already bad.
And a 1 is like it's annoying you throughout the movie and you're hating it. I was pretty much hating
Annoyed
it.
And hating it throughout the
I
movie.
was pretty much hating it, but I have to give some of the characters. I have to give some of the actors credit, so I had to go with a 1.5
like
instead of just a 1.
Sir Ben Kingsley.
Sir Ben Kingsley knows how to be in a bad movie. God bless him. He is.
And he had a very good Kiwi accent.
Yeah, he had a passable New Zealand accent. He was the only one who really stood out as being good in his role and actually trying. The main kid, Asa Butterfield, is his name.
Butterfield.
He was definitely hiding a thick British accent and could barely speak in his American accent. So he was atrocious. And he did a lot of...
I have to say, I even like Haley Steinfeld better when she's singing about masturbation than in this movie. She was fine.
She was fine. I couldn't really fault her.
There was no chemistry with them.
Yeah, there was no chemistry with her and Asa Butterfield. They were supposed to have a little bit of a friendship / possible romantic connection. That just was not there at all. It just seemed like she was giving him googly eyes for no reason. Most of the kids were either just not noticeable or sort of typical... bad actors. The little
Except
kid
for, like,
Bean was okay.
He was fine, but then the one who was like the boss for a while, the
Bonzo.
little with the big nose, Gonzo or whatever the hell his name was. He was annoying.
He was overacting.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'd said afterwards. I think most of the bad acting that was overacting because there's only like 20 people in the movie,
so
and of those, like only 5 are like main characters.
Harrison Ford plays the main commander of the battle school who chooses Ender and guides him through his training and stuff like that. And he was sleepwalking through this
But also,
role.
he was sleepwalking, and the character has an inordinate amount of power over the fate of like the world, I guess, considering he was just like one general or something.
Yeah, a huge amount of power.
His decision was like going.
And Harrison Ford's just kind of sitting as often as he can,
shaking all the time.
His big red alcoholic nose is just shaking all over the screen.
He's like, "Oh, Ender, we have to get you to simulation."
Yeah. There are a couple times where he's supposed to come across as fatherly, and it is very creepy.
It's and then you even have the other actor, like the Butterface or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Even like kind of looks over at him like a creepy Uncle Touch.
Yeah, there's one point that Harrison Ford
it's an
grabs.
unsettling scene.
Yeah, he puts his hand on the kid's shoulder as like a fatherly show of sort of tough, I don't want to say tough love or whatever. Oh man, that actor's face once that big paw got on him was just
they told him that was in the script.
That was stranger danger. Eric's right. It was downright unsettling.
Yeah.
So you've got an
what changed the scene because you're like, wait, is this supposed to be like a threatening scene or something?
Yeah.
Because you can tell that the actor's uncomfortable.
So you have an established decent actor in Harrison Ford who's just doing a terrible job in this role because he doesn't care about it and he was poorly cast. Here's one that I'm starting to get like a physical reaction when I see her show up in movies. Viola Davis.
Yeah. Oh God.
I am baffled by Viola Davis. She is a very well regarded actress.
I guess we just haven't seen any of the movies that are
a lot of people talk about how great she is.
Yeah.
And even in movies like this and Suicide Squad, they'll go out of their way to say how
at least
great
she was
did.
great, and like she was fucking.
I think she was terrible.
Like in both of these movies, like she didn't even have any freaking face muscles.
Yeah.
It's like Botox Queen or something.
Yeah, she's always
like,
got
where's the acting?
Her eyes are half closed
Yeah.
and she's monotone mumbling through all of her lines. She
Right.
did that in this and Suicide Squad.
Right.
This one she was better than Suicide Squad because she did eventually have a couple scenes where she was supposed to get worked up because
Right.
she was supposed to be maybe the psychological evaluator in the school.
Right.
And she was supposed to have some moral qualms about putting the children through
Without knowing
the
where
kind
they're
of,
at psychologically.
the kind of training. So there was some interaction between her and Harrison Ford where she would be arguing with him over what he was doing and what he was making
Right.
the children do. And so then she did finally get to express some emotion, but for the most part, she just walks on a scene, sits there with her eyes half closed, mumbles her lines, and then walks off.
Stares around a little bit.
Yeah, I just
it's not
so
good.
I do have to admit I've only seen her in this and Suicide Squad.
They're probably her worst two movies.
Obviously,
I don't
they're
see
both bad
if these
movies.
aren't her worst two movies. She has a hell of
yeah,
a
yeah,
resume.
but she's just not in a lot of movies that I'm interested in. But I feel like I should watch some movies with her in it
Just to
because
cleanse our palate of
I
this
feel
tripe.
I feel like the alien here. I don't see what everybody sees in her. But you said 2, I said 1.5, so I think we can agree that wasted potential, bad casting.
When you're on a movie like that, when you have so few people in it, there needs to be chemistry. There needs to be good acting. Like you can't have it be bad when that's so much of the movie.
There was only one scene that I was like, hey, yeah, that was actually pretty good chemistry, pretty good acting. It of course had Sir Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
And it was just him and Ender. And he was supposed to be teaching Ender to kind of think on his own and trying to extract ideas from him. Mm-hmm. But it was like a master with a prodigy sort of making the prodigy realize what he can come up with on his own.
Right.
But it actually was really, really well done because there was chemistry with them and it felt like Kingsley was putting on an acting class for this kid and teaching the kid how to express emotions. I don't even remember what they were talking about because it could have fit in so well with him just actually teaching the kid how to extract these emotions from the audience.
To make instead.
And then that was it. That was one scene of good acting in the whole movie. Everything else was pretty bad. So, yeah, and I think we can both agree on that.
Definitely.
Our next category is visuals. Tell me what you thought about that.
I thought they were shit, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah.
it was one of these where this was an extremely expensive movie. Mm-hmm. It had no business looking as crappy as it did in so many ways.
Yeah.
But it starts with like, obviously, these are all like annoying little kids, so you have nothing to look at there.
Yeah.
They're not in like scraggly old Harrison Ford. The everything is a
With his big red
very
nose.
gray movie, so there's nothing like that
Gray and
stands
blue
out. Gray and blue.
And fuzzy. Did it look fuzzy to you? It seemed like
I don't know.
I don't know. It was just a weird
And like
aura
everything
about
is
it.
cut off. The whole movie feels cut off. Like, I mean, obviously they're in a space station or something, but there's never a scene with more than a few people in it.
Yeah.
Even when it's like it's at its house, it's 1 or 2 people. In a room, it's 1 or 2 people. They're training. Maybe
It's all
there's 6
green
people.
screen. It's all people
green
standing in
screen.
rooms,
And even
yeah.
like the exciting scenes are like too long. Like they're floating around in laser tag. Everything looks stupid. Their suits are stupid. And they're like playing a boring... Their suits have like mouth holes in the face shield. And like dumb shit like that. And I'm like, this is just not a visually attractive...
Why would you even need...
And even like...
So in this laser tag, they're not throwing anything.
It's lasers, yeah.
They didn't even need a face shield.
I mean, they could use like a mesh, like hockey mask in case you bump into a pylon or something. But
right. Or like a football mask.
That's what I mean, like with just
better.
a cage around your face.
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to match it to the book. The book explains a lot of that
and then
stuff.
the bugs look dumb. And they act, like I said, they look like there's movies, and I'm going to bring this up again when Starship Troopers, but there's some movies like Jurassic Park, which was 20 years before this,
right?
And it looks better CG than they have for this stuff nowadays. I don't know if they use a new style or the fact that they don't even try to mix in models and stuff.
Yeah.
So then they don't have to match the way it looks like, and you can tell it looks like CG. I don't like the design of the bugs either, but that's not that big of a deal. They just look like praying mantises. But the spaceships and the spaceship battles at the end are really dumb. I just didn't like the way any of it looked.
Yeah. There was nothing to look at. So what's your actual score?
1.
Okay. I actually gave it a 2. I agree with everything that you said, but for me, it was more just a boring experience, just outright. There's nothing for me to enjoy
right,
visually
but there also
in
were
this
things
movie.
that bothered me about the way a lot of it
yeah,
looked. And another one I forgot was the fight choreography, even though when their training was like just awful.
Oh, it was.
So bad.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
It was like
bad.
they filmed their practicing the choreography, and they couldn't even like... Yeah, it looked... I mean, I know these are little kids, but they were supposed to be good at it. They were supposed to have been training this their whole life.
And it was embarrassing.
And it was really cheesy looking to where they're like slowly stop
Man,
their arms.
you're making me think I
want to
bump my... I kind of want to bump my... You know what? I'm going down 1.5. So I'm not going to go the full 1.
But for some reason, the fight choreography and like they do it through like really stuck out to me as being like terrible.
Yeah.
Just awful.
It was. The fight choreography was laughable. Part of what we talk about in visuals is, you know, the attractiveness of the actors, how good the CG looks, the choreography,
the overall visual
the
appeal
overall design. I mean, like Eric said, they're all children. You don't want to look at a single one of them. Right. Harrison Ford, God love him as Han Solo, but here, but like big red nose is just
not only are they just kids, so like okay, obviously you're not like, man, these kids weren't hot because that's not who cares. They're kids, you know. But there was a lot of the characters that were like the Gonzo character was particularly like goofy looking to the point that you're like distracted. So is this supposed to be serious or is he just like
this was
and he looked like he was 40.
This was
that Gonzo one.
Completely inept filmmaking. Completely inept. And we'll see if you got this even though you didn't read the book. In the book, Ender is supposed to be younger than the rest of them.
Yeah, you said it was like 6 to 10 in the timeline. So
yeah, these kids are anywhere from... Ender goes from 6 years old at the beginning of the book to 10 years old at the end, but he's supposed to progress more quickly. So the other children, as he gets in the higher levels, are supposed to be older than him.
But he's like towering over them all in this movie.
Exactly. So in these scenes that he's beating them up, that they're bullying him and he's fighting back and actually killing them.
Like you would.
Yeah, it actually was meaningful in the book because he's supposed to be like so good at the tactical and the strategy part that even though he was way smaller, he was able to literally kill. He killed 2 children in the book. In the movie, they did not make it obvious that they were dead. They made it obvious that they were like grievously injured, but he killed both of those bullies.
That's funny.
He killed Bonzo and he killed the bully at the very beginning that got him into the school.
In the science lab.
And he was supposed to be this young, you know, little squirt sort of thing. Right. But he's able to kill these children.
More like in the Sherlock Holmes movies where he's like thinking about like where he's going to strike.
They should have done something like that. They should have Guy Ritchie make this movie.
Right.
So they horribly miscast it because they put 6 foot tall 16-year-old as the kid that's supposed to be younger than everybody. Right. And one of the main bullies that he fights,
he's like 5'2".
Yes, 5'1".
5'1".
He is literally a foot shorter than him. So he's supposed to be he's going up and he's looking him in the eye. Can't even look him in the eye. He's looking him in the fucking chest. Yeah. Looking up at
trying to be
chin.
threatening and like
trying to threaten him, and you're like, dude, this kid could just wrap you up. No problem. Right. Easy. And it's funny because I'm looking at the plot on Wikipedia for the story.
How they talk about it.
And here's what they literally say about it. Bonzo believing that Ender is inept due to his size. What? Ender was a foot taller than him. So even like...
Well, that's the book synopsis, I'm guessing.
No, this is the movie synopsis.
That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
He's the tallest kid there.
It's like they did this synopsis based on what it was supposed to be, but then they put the wrong kid in the role. Yeah. So you're right. Visuals were terrible. You say 1, I say 1.5 just because I kind of have a hard time justifying bumping it down that badly. But I still, in essence, agree with you. All right.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the
The
big
good one,
doozy.
yeah.
What's your structure score?
You want us to do a score first or talk about it a little bit?
I
mean, I'll just go
whatever
with the
you
score. I
think
said 0.5.
I gave it a hard 0.
For me, the only reason I didn't give it a 0 is because, and I was comparing it to something like Suicide Squad, where you're literally asking, like, wait, well, like, there's jump cuts, like, the scene's missing, and, like, weird, this, like, really, really bad stuff like that. Like, this one, there was a lot of dumb shit. There's no reason why it should be happening that way. And I don't like that they did it a certain way, but you at least know what's happening. Like, they could have been worse by you literally not knowing what's happening. That's the only way it could have been worse, though. Because there are movies where you're just like, wait, what's going on? Where'd that guy go? Who's this? You know what I mean? And you just really don't know what's going on.
I think you only knew what was going on because I was telling you because I had read the book.
And that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But
I think that you're, like, I was watching this movie trying to imagine not having read the book. I don't think you could have known what was supposed to be happening.
Right. But I don't think you could have for a lot of it, but I do think it could have been worse. That's the only because like we saw Suicide Squad and there were those elements of like literally felt like missing scenes and stuff like that. Like this one, story wise, none of this shit makes sense. But 0.5 and 0, that's
right.
Terrible. It's terrible.
Right. I did not expect this early in the
irredeemable.
podcast to be giving 0s and 0.5s to a movie.
On major movies.
Especially not one that got a 60% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. What the hell movie did these critics watch?
Because like
this movie, okay, so
well, that was the first thing I wrote down is made for people who read the book, ?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know a lot, and I guess my understanding of it was enhanced by me asking you random questions because like there's a lot of stuff that you have no idea what's happening. First of all, they don't go into the initial invasion at all or how badly humans were in danger, how hard it was to beat the bugs. They don't tell you, they show the guy winning by like flying his ship into the alien spaceship, which is not the book.
Regardless of all of this stuff, I gave it a 0 because there is no way that we would have watched this entire movie if not for the podcast.
We were literally like, we took a break during the movie.
5 minutes in, I looked over at Eric and said, I hate this movie.
And I was like, this is surprisingly bad. And then by the time we got in, we actually checked. And when we found out that there were still 20 minutes left, we had to take a break to do chores.
Yes. So this movie is an hour and 53 minutes. I wrote down the times.
Right.
We took a break at an hour 25
at the
climax of the movie and did chores.
Yeah, it was right before the climax.
Yeah. And so we mentioned, I think I've said this before this, Suicide Squad was kind of our rock bottom, like
how bad can you really
large
make a
release
movie?
Studio movie. This is my new rock bottom. Yeah. I don't think a movie with a big budget is going to be worse than this.
Not only was it almost as bad in terms of physically the way like editing and stuff like that, it was worse acted, I would say, than Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Not, they didn't even have people like Margot Robbie to show her ass.
Yeah, you can't even look at butts.
Right. And they and it was boring. At least Suicide Squad, there's people jumping around and killing.
The boringness of this movie is what really did it in. This movie, it was almost unwatchable.
Right.
We literally started vacuuming the house. We started doing work. If I had gone to theaters for this, I would have walked out 10 minutes in and gotten my money back.
Yeah,
or
if I wasn't
walked
there
into
with a
another
group of
theater
people or something, I would have just left.
Right, right. So
it was that boring. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's wrong with the plot, which I mean, that's just their choice for using the source material. I think most of it's probably the same problems in the book. But like the premise that kids have to be used, it seems dumb. They have Mazer Rackham as the guy who supposedly beat them the first time, and in the book he actually was like more instrumental in beating them by like decision making. In the movie they made it was like one deft piloting move. He just decided, like, wait, maybe this looks like a cluster. I'm going to fly my ship in there.
He Independence Day'd
right.
it
He was
and,
like,
flew
back,
into the ship. Yeah,
like Randy
it would be
Quaid.
like saying Randy Quaid was a great military
and
genius.
And then we need him to teach the other people. Right.
Yeah.
Like, this guy may have also been a good military genius, but they didn't explain why. They didn't explain why they pretended he was dead.
Yeah.
They didn't explain why supposedly kids would be better at doing any of this. They made some comment about it, but it didn't make any sense.
They didn't explain why they wouldn't just get Mazer Rackham to lead whatever resistance
They didn't
it was.
explain why.
So that's a problem with the book, though. So here are the things that the book does treat better. The book does explain why children have to be used, and it helps because in the book they get these kids. They get these kids at 5 and 6 years old, so it makes a lot more sense. They basically get them that age at the same reason that you want to teach a language to a kid that's younger, because the earlier you get them, the better they're going to be if you train them for longer during that very developmentally important time.
Yeah, like if you start with anything, if you start at soccer training when they're 2, they're going to be better. But that doesn't mean why. Like the question is why do they have to get new people? Why is doing this mission outside the purview of all the existing military commanders and leaders?
In the book, my recollection is they said that because none of the existing leaders would want to wipe out the bugs, so they had to get kids to fool them because otherwise no
So
one
all
would
you're
have done
doing,
it.
you're just saying like, I can't kill this person, so I'm going to
gonna
train someone to kill them
so I'm
because
gonna
I feel bad
I'm
about
gonna
it.
Fool someone else
You're
into
still
killing
doing
them.
it.
It's absolutely preposterous. That's why I didn't like the book.
And that's just not human nature.
Absolutely
These
not.
people were attacked by an
That is
alien.
a fundamental misunderstanding of the way people work.
Alien
Look
race.
at any time in history where you've got a group of people who are indoctrinated to hate and fear another group, whether it's people or animals or something.
Even unjustly. In this case, it would be perfectly justified.
Right. You pick an average person out of that, they are not going to have any qualms about wiping out that threat at the first
Well, it's
available.
definitely understood that if the bugs had won the first time, that humans would have been toast.
Yeah.
They would have taken over the whole planet.
Yes.
But then the plot is generally like, oh, well, somehow during this battle with flying machines and other weapons being shot at us, we didn't realize that humans were like really that sentient.
Yeah.
Now we realize it because we got our asses kicked. So like, peace.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And then you feel bad because it's like that. I always quote that one episode of Dragon Ball Z where the guy's like, he blows up one of the androids and he's like, enough. And he's like, nonsense. It's only enough because you're losing.
Yeah.
You came here to destroy us.
So yeah, like I said, a lot of my problem with that actually did come from the source material, the book. I don't really understand, again, why people like this book so much, but whatever. But as far as the movie is concerned and what the movie got wrong, without even comparing it to the book, is it did a lot of narration that was done by the kid that played Ender.
Just like having to explain shit with that.
So things that really should have been explained in character interactions or other types of scenes like that, he just narrated over it. And like I said, this kid was doing a bad job.
Right.
His voice is all weird because I think it had just recently... it just recently broke. He just went through puberty. Like literally, it sounds like this kid's voice is.
Wouldn't
just
it be
cracking.
funny if they like got this kid
when
they're like we're writing the movie and it's like then like a year later and he grew like 18 inches.
I kind of got that feeling with it that maybe he was
like,
5.5 feet tall.
By the time you start a movie filming, then you've been in some sort of production stages for maybe a year or two for a lot of movies.
I really did kind of get that feeling. Like when they chose him, he was maybe a
5'4", 5'6".
5'3" or something, and had his high little voice, and they could pass him off as a little bit younger. And then over the course of pre-production, he fucking went through puberty and shot up. He's 6 feet tall now. He's got this stupid voice that's cracking
bigger
all
than
over the
Tom
place.
Cruise now. Tom Cruise played Jack Reacher.
Yeah, let's have him fight the bugs mano a mano.
Exactly.
So he's narrating it, and he fucking sucks. He sucks. And the narration sucks, and it has no emotional weight to it.
And also, they just don't do a good job of getting across ideas, like you said, like the idea that he's beating these people because he's just smarter than them, or like the bully. In the scene, you're like, he explains, like, why'd you keep kicking him? He's like, I had to end all future fights. Like, no, in the scene that they depict, he kept kicking him because he was pissed off and he was winning.
Right.
So he kept kicking him.
Right.
They didn't give any impression, and then they made it seem like he was just doing that after the fact to get out of trouble.
You put it perfectly. They absolutely needed to do the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock
where they
Holmes
show him thinking through and like envisioning the guys attacking him if he lets him up or something like that.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
It was,
and it would have got across the idea.
There
that they
was
were trying.
never a point in this movie that they convincingly made that character better at anything than any of the other children. They just told
told you like,
they
look,
just told
here's
you
him
that he
doing
was
it better. Yeah, here's him coming up with a good way to play laser tag with the human centipede flying V.
Yeah, and then,
that was one of the ones that they do like this laser tag match, and they do the Mighty Ducks flying V thing where they just charge across the field, but they use like a human centipede formation. It looks stupid. Another dumb visual.
Even the way that he was supposed to have bested all of the teams in this laser tag battle was like, yeah, that seems obvious.
Yeah, an obvious way.
Because the point of the game is that if you get someone through the other team's goal unhurt,
unlasered,
then you win the whole game. So yeah, just put a bunch of people around him,
and the lasers don't go through him. Yeah,
and then he like at the very end he pushes them off, and then he goes through.
Yeah,
obviously.
Wow, what a genius.
Yeah, we needed a 8-year-old
and now
super
since
genius
he's a
to tell
laser
us.
tag level 1 player, he can beat the alien civilization.
Yeah,
apparently.
but that's also an issue with the book. So I'm trying
it's still stupid.
Right,
the point is, this movie has these issues. With it.
I don't understand
whether or not it's from a book or a screenplay. Doesn't matter to me. It's still dumb.
Right. So I do think part of again, it was a long time ago when I read the book, so I don't remember a lot of it except mostly my emotional reaction.
And they
to
didn't
it.
make you care at all. Like I said, the visuals were stupid for the fight, but they also didn't make you care. Like, so at the end, you're disgusted by this whiny little bitch kid because they don't do anything to make you care about the bugs either.
Right. What I was gonna say.
Why should you?
What I was gonna say is one of the good things in
bugs?
the book is it goes a lot into sort of the psychological aspect of the Harrison Ford character and how he's trying to make this kid into a leader and separate him from the pack, and that was reasonably compelling. They went into a lot of the strategy of like a lot of the kid's ideas about why he was doing what he was doing
in the book.
That they did not at all convey in the movie.
And I think that's the only way that stuff would even partially work.
The book set up a little bit better that he did not want to be a sociopath like his brother. Because his brother just sort of like beat him up for fun and was this bad kid.
They would just show his brother being kind of ruthless, but not really evil.
They had one scene with his brother. That was it. One scene where his brother kind of beats him up in the room. It's really not that big of a deal. He does typical big bully brother stuff, and then that's it. But in the book, the brother was supposed to be like a legit sociopath.
Like cruelty and all this other stuff.
Right. So Ender didn't want to be like his brother.
All they mentioned was that your sister was too nice, your brother's too mean, so you're just right. Yeah. We got Goldilocks the Space Invader.
Goldilocks Wiggins.
Goldilocks. That's what they should have called it. Goldilocks' game.
Right. So I think I've said everything I want to say about this movie.
Except don't watch it.
Yeah, I hated it. I don't
even know if I would watch a riff tracks for this movie.
I don't think...
I tried doing it my own when we were watching it, but had a couple good ones.
Oh, it was painful. Like I said, this is the most effective way to make yourself be productive. Put this movie on if you've got some homework to do. And then find out you
have 45 minutes of it left.
Oh my God, that was devastating. Like, oh, no. At one point, before we paused it to do chores, I went and looked how long was left, and we were only halfway through. And
you had actually looked? And you didn't tell me?
I think so. Or we were just talking about it throughout the whole time. I was just like, when should we look and see how long there is?
Don't look. It's going to be too long.
Yeah, I think at the point that we paused it was when I said, if I look and there's 30 minutes left to this movie, we have to take a break.
Well, I said if there's more than 15 minutes left, and it was like 23 minutes left, and we're like, oh shit, okay, we're taking a break.
So this movie was so miserable, we didn't even want to watch Starship Troopers right after it.
Yeah, because we just wanted to get up and
we were on a little bit of a tight timeline anyway.
Social engagement, you know how it is.
Sure. Usually my idea is I want to watch both movies in the same day. This one beat us down. We couldn't do it. So we went back the next day and watched Starship Troopers.
Water on our face.
And I'm actually really glad we did, because as much as I hated Ender's Game, I think I would have hated it even more if it was directly compared to Starship Troopers. Within the same hour.
Right.
So do you want to do the synopsis on Starship Troopers?
So Starship Troopers is, what year was Starship Troopers? 97? 97, okay. So 97, Paul Verhoeven movie and based on the Robert Heinlein book, which I have also not read. And as I understand it, is quite a bit different than the book, to be honest. But in the movie, there is a future Earth society where people have to do military service to get voting rights. Their main enemy at this point is bugs on various planets that launch asteroids into... I don't think bugs are supposed to have invaded Earth, though. They were just attacking Earth with asteroids and like giving a shit on other planets.
I think the people were supposed to be colonizing other planets.
And the bugs would attack them everywhere.
The bugs were also trying to colonize.
Right.
So they hadn't quite made it to Earth yet. And then you said that they had to do military to get voting rights. They had to do military to get citizenship. And then citizenship granted you a lot of other
not just voting rights. Like it's easier to have a kid. You can all this other stuff.
Right. You could go into politics then.
Right. So then it centers around these high school kids who are just about to go into college, and so Casper Van Dien is the jock who's not that smart, so he has to go into the mobile infantry, and he's trying to chase his Denise Richards' girlfriend, who's going to be a pilot because she gets good scores. Dookie Howser is in it. He's got some sort of psychic abilities, so they send him off to military intelligence.
Right.
And then, so basically it's them fighting the bugs for the rest of the movie.
It just centers, it introduces our main characters.
They try to find a brain bug.
It shows them go through training in the various branches of the military that they join.
It doesn't really show anything Doogie Howser does. He just shows up later, and every time he shows up, he's like a higher rank.
It's Rico's movie. It focuses mostly on Rico, has a little bit about Carmen, Denise Richards, a little bit about her training, and then Doogie Howser just kind of comes in every once in a while to remind us that he's there and psychic and a Nazi now. They make him look very
they just have very like
SS,
their cloaks look like that, but
right. And
also we get treated to Jake Busey. Don't forget that.
Oh, Jake Busey's teeth mostly.
And the Kurgan.
Yeah.
And Michael Ironsides.
Right. So let's just go ahead and get into acting.
Okay.
I don't think we need to talk too much more.
Yeah,
about,
I gave
we'll
it-
talk about the plot in all.
Right.
The other
I gave
sections.
acting a 3.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
a 3.
You thought it was better than that?
I have a feeling I'm going to give this much higher scores than you are.
I thought the
Let's
acting
see.
was done well in certain people, but there's also a little bit of like cheeseballiness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I think Denise Richards didn't do a very good job.
Denise Richards was the thing that bothered me. I actually
Right.
gave acting a 4.
Okay.
I thought it was very good. You had the Kurgan, Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
He was cast as the drill,
Which was very
the drill
good casting,
instructor.
obviously.
Perfect casting. Absolutely fantastic.
Same with Ironsides.
He is
That was good
naturally
casting.
intimidating, but also someone that people are going
Right.
to look up to. He's not just scary; he also is charismatic.
Right.
So he was perfect. Michael Ironside as the kid's
The high school
former
teacher.
but who is also once the war starts with the bugs.
Well, he was former military before being a teacher.
Yeah, he goes
Like,
back into
yeah.
the military and then is a lieutenant that everybody loves to follow. So he was great. Inspiring
Right.
leader, but also himself very intimidating.
Did Verhoeven do Total Recall? He did, didn't he?
Yes,
Because he
yes.
was also, and he was the bad guy in Total Recall.
Yeah. I thought Rico was good. He himself would have been a 3. He was
Right.
well cast and he did a good job.
He was well cast and did a good job, but he is sort of like a cheese
He
ball.
is. He was a little bit of a blank slate, a little
Right.
bit
So
more so
him-
than the other characters.
Him and Denise Richards were probably the weakest, and they didn't have great chemistry.
Denise Richards herself was a 2. Her character was supposed to be, I would say, naive but ambitious.
Yeah.
But the way that she portrays that is just this creepy smile.
Where she's just like, oh,
this
oh
wide-eyed,
God. Like I even wrote down that she seems like she's on Prozac or something
just
throughout
this
the movie.
wide-eyed, glazed look,
even after,
with this
like-
big smile and just.
And even after Buenos Aires was destroyed, because like their entire family was supposed to be from there.
Yeah.
Which I also thought was funny because they're all supposed to be from Buenos Aires and they're like Rico and
Yeah,
Ibanez and it's like
yeah.
Denise Richards.
Then- yeah.
But she's like, Buenos Aires was completely destroyed. I try to think about it or else I cry or something.
Or else I just can't stop crying.
yeah, I just can't stop
She's still got
crying.
this crazed
Right.
smile.
And I thought the
plastered on her
parents
face.
were really bad. Rico's parents were pretty bad.
Yeah, but they weren't.
They were
weren't
small
in
part.
it. They
But
weren't in it
overall,
very
I said
much.
this movie, I would not say the movie had great acting.
Yeah.
I said it had, average
I
acting.
think the movie
Almost a
again,
little bit below
Like I
in
said,
some,
like I
but
said, that
casting
three
was good.
that 3 is average and not noticeable.
Right.
4 means I noticed that I was enjoying it throughout the movie. I thought Dizzy was good. I really
Yeah,
liked
she was
Dizzy.
good. Yeah, her character
she
was good.
she's supposed to be one of the other high schoolers who's in love with Rico.
She's
the whole
like a
time.
super tomboy, athletic, badass.
She
but
is. I
she's
thought-
like,
I thought she
but
did a good-
she's,
yeah.
yeah, she did, and she's like in Twitter pated with.
She did.
Casper
She did
Van
it. She
Dien.
had a good fuck me face on the whole time.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I thought it was effective. Honestly, she did a little bit too good of a job. It just was not at all believable that he would not have jumped on that sooner.
Right, because she was ready to like just grab his Dioc at any moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really know how he said no throughout the whole movie. He does eventually get with her. So yeah, I thought it was solid. Let me look through my notes and make sure.
So I wasn't
yeah.
like because I went away I came away not really being impressed with the acting, but not really thinking too much about the acting in
But
general.
I felt like I was impressed
Yeah,
with the
that's fine.
acting
I
in
can see it.
general.
I can see
with
it.
the with
With
the
the
exception
casting and
of
everything, too.
exception of Denise Richards, but she wasn't enough to ruin it for me. Like I said, Rico was a little bit of a blank slate, but you kind of need that in your main
Right.
character sometimes because you have to experience this world through him.
Right.
So sometimes they almost can't be too strong of a character because you can't.
or you're not getting
yeah.
it. It's just whatever they
Right. So
experience.
this is one of those movies that's really about experiencing all the other characters around him, and I thought they
or
did.
experiencing those
Yeah.
situations.
Right, through him as your
Right, just
medium.
through him is the reason you're there. Kind of.
Right. So now we can move on to talk about visuals.
I gave the visuals 4.
I did too. So I
'Cause
think we're
they're-
going to be in complete agreement.
Yeah,
on this
like
one.
I mentioned earlier on, the special effects for a 97 movie are actually really good for the bugs.
And they got some gore, the good gore scenes.
good gore.
too,
Obviously, it's a
'cause the-
Verhoeven movie.
Yeah,
People get ripped
yeah.
open. So, like, the physical effects are good for explosions and the people getting ripped to shreds. They did a really good job merging puppetry and animatronics with the CG for like the drone bugs. Some of the bigger bugs looked a little bit crappier because they
Yeah.
were all CG.
Yeah.
But it still was no worse than like the Ender's Game.
No,
And this
it
is a
was
movie that
fine,
came
yeah.
out 10 years beforehand.
Yeah, for the most part, I don't really have a lot of complaints
Same with
about
the
how
ships. They
yeah.
had like models they're using, so it looked better than like the all CG
the space
shit.
stuff looked kind of bad.
It
So
looked a
the
little
stuff
hokey,
that didn't
but-
involve, the stuff that was happening
ships
outside of the
themselves,
ships,
yeah.
didn't look great.
Now, overall,
But it
there
didn't
are
bother me.
elements of the style that they've chose for some of the stuff that I don't. that I didn't really like.
The lighting was odd. It
Like,
had
weird
almost
lighting.
like a TV movie.
And like some of
Yeah.
the stuff just looked a little bit.
Almost cartoony.
Yeah, but and that is the mood they go for. So some of that was a
Like
conscious
the green
decision.
slime that comes out of the bugs when you kill
And
them.
it's like orange out of one, bright green out of the other,
Right.
like stuff like that. He's really pushing
I mean,
this.
subtlety is not a Verhoeven staple.
And so that's probably the only reason it's not higher than 4, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of elements and visuals, like we always talk about. It's a good looking cast. You know, like,
you got to see a lot of skin in this movie.
yeah, like Denise Richards is really hot. Obviously,
They
even
had a
the other
nice
girls
shower
really
scene.
hot.
You
Yeah,
got to see the boys, got to see the girls.
right. And Casper Van Dien is like a big block-headed cheeseball, but
Oh,
he's
he's
at
a
least
big
like
cutie.
an
He's a big
in-shape
cutie,
guy.
yeah.
He's obviously good looking and
Yeah.
stuff. And
I can look at his stupid face for a couple hours.
So even like the other guy, the tall, dark, handsome pilot or whatever, like they're not a bunch of ugly people.
Yeah.
So that helps too. And there was a lot of visuals that I remember impacting on me quite a bit. Like even if necessarily not talking even about the special effects, but just about like how it affects you. Like in the scene where they're in the outpost and they come up over the wall and then you just see bugs like as far as the eye can see, like swarming.
that one I like slumped back
Yeah.
in the couch and went, how are they gonna do this?
Right.
It was so overwhelming.
Like it's just a good visual.
Yeah, it was very effective visual.
And like the first time they land on the bug planet and you just see them, everything go crazy and they're all like, oh shit.
Yeah, but the propaganda scenes have a lot of are very effective. The propaganda
They're fun.
scenes
Like, would you like to know more?
Yeah,
And they show
yeah.
these
And
news
that's a little
clips.
bit more structure, but the
visuals
look
of them
the look
works.
almost this like trying to do the 50s type of Cold War propaganda,
Right.
but with these bugs and just like bodies strewn everywhere of the Mormon colonies.
And I kind of like the look of like where they do use these like weird, almost like Nazi uniforms mixed with like Space Marines, and like it's kind of a cool military kind of look that they use.
So so we're in agreement of 4, and noticeably good the whole time. I would say some of the things that detracted for me, probably not so much for you. Denise Richards' creepy smile in every scene that she was in.
Her acting was goofy. Obviously, she's hot.
Yeah, her creepy smile it bothered me. And then the actors are so old.
Yeah,
oh
that's
my
the goofy
God.
part. Like high school, and these guys are probably mid-20s.
Oh, they
at the
are
time.
late 20s.
At the time,
They're almost 30. I looked it up.
I thought Denise Richards might have been younger at the time, but
Denise Richards might have been on the younger
But
side.
Casper Van
Dien, he was like 29.
30, yeah.
Yeah, Dizzy 29. I think that I looked
Jake
it up.
Busey, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now they don't tell. He was not from their high school, so he may have been older.
Yeah.
Only the high schooler ones are the 4 or 5 main characters.
I felt like they could have done maybe
Dookie Howser, he looks young. So
yeah, he probably was the youngest also.
Or at least
so they were
looks
just
young.
comically old.
Right.
We made a joke
Cass
last
Van
time
Dien
about
sitting there.
26-year-olds, 16-year-olds. These were 30-year-olds,
Right.
18-year-olds.
And it makes it especially funny when they're having that like, it's my life, Dad, kind of argument. And it's like,
I'm 35 now.
Right.
I can choose to go in the military if I
although
want.
nowadays that would probably make sense. All these millennials, like
Yeah.
35, like, Dad,
Yeah, so I mean,
joining the army.
it is kind of funny to look and see the 90s vision of the future. So this movie,
Right.
there are a lot of French braids on these girls. A lot of French braids. You don't see those that often anymore. But
Right.
overall, a fun movie to look at. There's a lot going on screen that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
So let's move on and talk about structure. What'd you think?
I think I gave it lower than you did, I think, because I gave it a 3 overall.
My God. My
What?
God, Eric. Yeah.
Just because it was, like I said, I don't know, I like it, but it's just very straightforward. There's not much to it.
Okay.
So it's like, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not impressed with the structure per
I gave
se.
it a 4.5.
Because some of the, really?
I couldn't
You
go
really like the
I couldn't go
structure?
perfect. I couldn't say
I probably should have gone higher than 3, but
yeah, I couldn't say 5. 5 is unimprovable. I think
Yeah.
that it felt a little bit long. There toward the end I kind of was like, okay,
and
I
there's
wouldn't
certain plot
mind.
elements to me that are just, I don't want to say forced,
So
but
I
don't
don't
know.
focus when I say structure, I don't mean just plot. I mean pacing. I mean dialogue.
Yeah, I need to
character
start
development.
factoring in more. You didn't describe these things to me very well.
So let me describe them now.
There's one-
It doesn't matter. You forget next time anyway.
No,
So,
you need to write it down so I actually know that.
So
'cause
structure
you've
is,
named these.
Structure is not just plot. Structure is basically all of the filmmaking, behind the scenes elements
pacing, editing,
that
all that
that we
stuff.
haven't covered in acting and visuals.
So like even directing and stuff like that.
Yeah, directing. You got the Verhoeven touch in this one,
Which
is
I do.
very
I am a
apparent.
big fan of.
Yeah,
his
the
stuff.
characters are great. I love the characters. I cared about the characters.
Right.
Fuck, I almost cried when Dizzy died.
Right.
That doesn't. I mean, it's pretty
And
easy.
it makes you tense. You're worried for them. Like they
you
give a good
said,
sense of
those,
danger.
Those bugs, the
You're like, oh,
alien
how are you gonna
hordes
get out of
start
this?
coming over,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh my God, all my characters are gonna die. What am I gonna do?
Right.
And even when Rico, the main character, decides to join the military. His family, he kind of has to disown it. His family kind of disowns him.
Basically.
His family doesn't want him to because the way the movie sets up that when you go into the military, you basically, it's just a meat grinder that they put you in.
They show all the people with like blown off limbs.
Yeah.
And so like, made me the man I am today. And the guy's in a wheelchair.
It's an absolute meat grinder. Lots of people come out. Michael Ironside is even supposed to be missing an arm.
Yeah.
Just all throughout the movie, you've got these adults who are horribly burned all over their face.
Right. Like all the teachers. Now, what I did think was funny, this is totally unrelated, but when Michael Ironside shows back up in the military, he's got this fully functioning prosthetic hand.
Why wouldn't he just
but when he's a
school?
teacher, you just walk around with a stump showing.
Oh, I have a feeling with that character, he probably wanted to do that to like get inside the kid's head.
To like freak him out by showing his stump.
Right. You could definitely see that with that character. Like,
yeah.
Because he was someone who was supposed to definitely, you get the sense that as a teacher, he wants these kids to go into the military.
But not because he said
But he doesn't
so.
want to bullshit them.
So he'll
about
do it by
yeah.
like, he wants the tough kids to go in. So he'll do it by like
so he
putting them through the fire.
He wants them to see that you're
like
going to
scaring
lose an
them.
arm.
And he wants the kids to like, I can take it.
He'll even
do it.
he'll even like get their attention by hitting them with the nub.
Putting the nub,
once,
which they made a point of showing like Denise Richards not caring about the nub.
Right, because it's so commonplace. Right. Most adults who are citizens are missing limbs or otherwise maimed.
Yeah.
So
well, only the mobile infantry ones anyway.
Right.
Not necessarily the fleet and everything.
True. So where was I going with? Oh, I was
Structure,
saying
how it includes other things.
Yeah. So the characters were great.
So I agree that I would say 4
Yeah?
overall, if not just plot. Just plot 3 because there's nothing wrong with it, but it is just very straightforward.
It is. But you got these great characters in there. You got these fantastic propaganda scenes, and I had to compare it to Ender's Game in the way that they set up the belief system of these people.
They did a better
job. In Ender's
job.
Game, they just had some kid trying to cover up his British accent.
They just
like
tell
telling
you, this is what people believe.
Yeah, while things are happening on screen.
Not showing people like, man, I want to be able to vote. I want to be able to have kids.
Here, all of those things are done with character interactions. Michael Ironside, as part of his class, is teaching the history and the belief behind what citizenship means. That's very important. It sets up why this is important to the society in a way that's believable, not annoying, it doesn't hit you as like, oh, okay, just get this exposition out of the way.
Right.
The shower scene, aside from being able to see everyone naked, also fantastic because it gives all these examples of what rights that citizens have that people who haven't done military
without
service
just explaining it with a narration.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, why'd you join up? Oh, I want to be in politics. I want to have
so
kids.
they have one guy who's like, oh, I'm going to be a writer, so I want to get all your stories. Hey, why'd you join up? Yeah. Exactly. I want to be in politics. You have to be a citizen to be in politics. Oh, great. How about you? I want to have babies.
And it's easier to get a license for children.
So it served the purpose of, you also got character development along with exposition.
Right. Because then you see this girl dying who's like, oh shit, she's only there because she wants to become like a mayor or something.
Exactly.
Or have a kid, she's getting ripped apart by a bug.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these are just regular people trying to deal with these situations. So the propaganda scenes were great. Very similar, like RoboCop did stuff like that.
It was like
too,
news.
right?
It wasn't really propaganda, but they would have the news.
So Verhoeven is good at that kind of stuff.
The one thing about
little fun scenes.
Because 4 overall, I would say. 3 just the story, which I do make
Yeah.
the mistake of just going with story on that one. I've done it before.
Yeah.
But the only part I think that they didn't do a very good job of like the impact was when like their entire home city was destroyed.
Yeah,
that
they got
fell
over
a
that
little
real quick.
flat.
Yeah.
And I think mostly it's probably Denise Richards' fault for not being like.
I can't stop crying.
Right, but it was just a little bit like, oh man, my parents, not like my entire 10 million people were killed or something.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right. So one of the things that bothered me, and it bothered you too, we talked about it during the movie, the weapons tech was very bad. So this is supposedly a militaristic society that is like kind of
I think it was only
people
bad
to go
for
into
the
meat
bugs.
It was terrible for the bugs. It was fine overall, but like they were just shooting these huge bug things with regular bullets, and it never worked.
What else would they do though? I mean, I kind of like that because that's why it was like, flamethrower, and they show that at the end. They make these things.
And then at one point he pulls out basically a shotgun that was way more effective. Use the damn shotgun the whole time.
Yeah, you probably only have a few shells though.
Yeah, I don't know. It struck me as, how did this society not come up with more effective ways to kill these things? But it was kind of a small point. Like I said, I gave this almost perfect with structure. I gave it 4.5.
They use
Stuff
that,
like
but
that,
it doesn't necessarily. You're like this. They wouldn't really be this hard to kill. Like, wouldn't you just send in like a robo tanks or something?
Right? Why wouldn't you just nuke the entire planet? You don't give a shit about this planet.
Or send in robots and just with bombs, and every time they see these blow
so stuff like that. I mean, obviously they had to make it so that the
They could put
characters
them in
were in great
dangerous,
peril
yeah.
constantly, and that you had the society where everyone went through this peril that survived.
Right.
But I don't know. I did find that frustrating, for lack of a better word. One line that I really liked, I think this is part of the Verhoeven touch.
Yeah.
I wrote it down, and I think it's just the way that people think, and I think it's very silly, is in one of the propaganda scenes, they showed a talk show host who was arguing with an expert, because initially with these
Right.
bugs, they thought they were mindless. They thought they were just literal big bugs.
Like just literally like
that just
ants
wanted
or
to,
something
that just
and colonizing.
wanted to kill whatever got close to them.
And they were
then
colonizing,
over the
like-
course of the movie, they realized that they're getting better at fighting.
And they're like tricking people and stuff like that.
Right. They realized that, like, man, these things can actually think. There must be, they call them brain bugs. They say there must be some kind of
Queen-like
leaders.
brain bug.
Yeah, they don't call them queen, which is nice. That's a little overused with
But
bugs.
it's also a different
Yeah.
purpose. It's not like the
Right.
origin bug. It's just a literal like a brain bug.
Yeah, it's a brain bug. So these are all hive mind. The soldier bugs themselves don't think, but they're led by brain bugs that can learn. So this is a controversial thought. People aren't
Right.
used to it. So they, in one of the little propaganda scenes, shows a talk show host arguing with an expert who's trying to say the bugs can think, and he's just screaming over her and yelling over her. And then at the end, after she makes her case, he goes something to the effect of, well, frankly, I find the idea of a bug that thinks offensive.
Yes, I think it's the actual
and I
quote.
just love
A bug that thinks offensive.
yeah, as if the truth is at all influenced by your opinion
Right.
of it.
Like,
but
we
that's a
should-
very human.
it's a realistic.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice, concise.
It's annoying and
way
dumb, but
of
it's-
showing like you
but
said,
it's
the
realistic.
incredibly annoying way that people have of thinking that, like, oh, I don't like this, therefore I'm going to reject that reality.
So reality. I'm not even going to accept that reality just because I don't like the idea of it.
Right. And I liked it a lot. A little bit too long, but I honestly couldn't think of anything that could have been cut out.
Yeah, without affecting it. I
Yeah.
didn't really feel like it was that long.
Yeah. And you notice for Ender's Game, we talked a lot about the book compared to the movie. For this one, we haven't even mentioned it.
Neither of us. Oh,
I
did
did
you?
read the book. I read the book. I don't remember a lot about it. I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. I saw the movie first.
You've read a couple Heinlein books and not liked them.
Yeah, I just don't like him.
The only thing I know about the book was that there was like these dogs that would be super afraid of the bugs. And so they were like intelligent dogs, like they could communicate with humans and stuff. But they were so afraid of the bugs that they had to wear bombs so that if they were ever about to be like attacked, they would blow themselves up.
Why don't I remember?
And then the guys would be like, "Oh, my intelligent dog's dead," because he got scared and blew himself up.
Oh my God! Why don't I remember that?
That was something my dad told me about,
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
and I was like, "That is hilarious."
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. I found the book just boring. I think very, very different than the movie. It's actually
it is very
the
different
same
from the movie.
the same kind of feel as World War Z,
Versus
where
the
the
book.
movie just took a name of a book with
And
this
a general
same general
idea.
premise and then made a totally different movie about it. Interesting side note, over the course of looking at Wikipedia to try and get a little more information to talk about it on the podcast, I
Yeah.
found out apparently it's not based on the book at all.
No, that's what I've heard. That is only like the idea of the bugs and the planet
They started
names.
writing a script, and over the course of writing the script, someone said, "This sounds like this Heinlein book, Starship Troopers."
So they just bought the
they
name?
bought the licensing and just used the name and some of the character names and maybe a couple of ideas.
Like Buenos Aires. I think
Buenos
that's
Aires
from.
character names, Rico's Roughnecks
Yeah.
was in the book. Flogging is one of the only things that I remember was also in the book.
The
So the
corporal
flogging, yeah,
punishment.
the corporal punishment for when Rico was in training
And he
as
got
a
a guy
squad
killed.
leader, he accidentally got a guy killed, so they flogged him. That idea is straight from the book. Otherwise, very different.
Right.
So tell me all of your scores again.
So
I, can
I
write them
did
down.
that one a 4 because I forgot that
4?
everything
Okay.
beyond just the story.
Yeah. So what was your acting score again?
I got 3.44.
Ender's Game, you gave it a 3.5.
Yeah.
2 for acting, 1 for visuals, 0.5
half
for
for
structure.
structure.
I gave it a 3. I did 1.5 acting, 1.5 visuals, 0 for structure.
What did you get for Starship Troopers?
4 acting, 4 visuals, 4.5 structure.
So 12
So
and
that's
a half.
12 and a half.
So we're still pretty close.
Yeah, and you gave it
11.
11. And the totals between the two movies are 6.5 total for Ender's Game. And then for Starship Troopers, 23.5. So like I
Seven.
said,
It's like
that
3
is
times.
that is a hugely lopsided victory for
Right.
Starship Troopers. I did not expect that Ender's
For
Game
what's
was gonna
generally
be...
considered, I know a lot of people do not have this high an opinion of Starship Troopers as we do, though.
I really
I really
that
like
kinda
these kind of
baffles me.
movies.
I don't really know why people don't like it.
I think
more.
they just get like all hoity-toity and they're like, I can't. They don't let themselves enjoy like a kind of cheesy movie. It is a kind of cheesy
it's cheesy,
movie.
yeah, but it's Verhoeven.
But it's
people
very
like,
enjoyable.
I mean, RoboCop is kind of
Yeah,
cheesy
but people
too.
look at that as being like a cheesy action movie from the 80s or whatever.
and this is a cheesy action movie from the 90s.
Yeah.
I guess people perceived themselves.
It's very
to be,
RoboCop-ish. You can actually like
is,
Basil
yeah.
Palladorius, who did both the music. They still sounds kind of similar. Obviously, it's the same director.
Yeah.
The same, even like the gray kind of like technology that they use. And a lot of it is reminiscent of RoboCop.
Yeah, I
and
liked
like
it.
the Detroit Police. And
At the end credits, Eric got up and started doing the RoboCop walk because it sounded so silly.
It's Murphy.
Yeah. So that was I don't know. It's weird to me that Verhoeven's other films can be so highly regarded, and this one's kind of
depends
so
on who you ask.
low. True.
Like a lot of people like Showgirls. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, that one's
But like Total Recall, the RoboCop, like people like them for what they are, but a lot of people
sure. Okay.
think they're cheesy.
Yep, that's fine. But actually, a 12.5. I was shocked at how much I liked Starship Troopers. I think that one's gonna go. I'd only seen it once before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd only seen it once before. It didn't make a huge impression on me, but now I guess just
Yeah, I've
the
always
age
liked
I'm
it.
at, I think I'm going to put that one in regular rotation
I've always
to
liked
watch.
it.
And Ender's Game, I will never ever.
I'll never watch it again. I don't even know if I would be able to sit through it for riff tracks. It's too long.
It's been
too
a
long and boring.
So yeah.
Also,
Previously,
it's fresh. I mean, like this trauma is fresh in our minds. So, like, ask me if you
the
have a riff
healing
track-
has not
right,
yet begun.
exactly. So, if you come up with a riff tracks, maybe in a year or two, maybe, and a group of people and a lot of adult beverages, maybe I could sit through it.
Yeah, but it was a painful experience this time. I thought that Suicide Squad was gonna be the worst movie
I would much rather
I'd
watch
seen.
that again.
Well,
than
we were
this.
saying that during the movie. Eric looked at me and said, "Did you ever think that you'd be wishing you were watching Suicide Squad right now?"
Because at least there's shit happening.
Yeah, at
like
least
you're like, okay, the superheroes is Margot Robbie's ass, is
right.
whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. If you really want to look at Viola Davis, she's in that one. So
Right, being a stuffy bureaucrat again.
Yeah,
I
knock
guess,
yourself out.
yeah.
My God, but this was just a horrible, painful experience, and it baffles me that other people don't feel that way.
And that it had such a respectable score on Rotten Tomatoes.
And I read the synopsis.
What did people like about it?
They said the acting was good. What the fuck movie did you watch?
Yeah.
Acting was atrocious.
Yeah.
Except for Ben Kingsley.
Right.
But like I said, it's that weird Viola Davis effect where they see her show up and they just, oh.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she blew some minds in her other movies. We'll have to watch
She
them.
must have, but I don't see how.
That can affect this movie.
Yeah, I mean, an actress that I highly respect is Meryl Streep. If you had put Meryl Streep in that role,
Or Frances McDormand or something.
Yeah, Frances McDormand.
Wouldn't have changed the
they
movie.
They would have both done better, but I wouldn't have been like, oh, this was a good.
Like,
movie.
you got to really watch
Yeah.
this movie because of Frances McDormand's 3 minutes in it.
Yeah, she really defended
Out of a 2.5 hour
those
movie.
kids' psychological well-being from mean old Harrison Ford. It just kind of, I guess it kind of goes to show the shortcomings of the Rotten
I don't know
Tomatoes
why, but that
system.
just reminded me of another dumb thing from that movie.
Oh, no.
Where she gives him like that game to try and see where he's at mentally, and they have like this genius kid, and he's like, every time I drink from one of these poison glasses, I die. I don't know what to do. And he's like, what are you gonna do? And he's like, I'm not gonna drink from either of them.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa, fucking genius kid. God.
And instead of choosing
He
either of the
attacks
glasses,
the
he
guy.
attacks the giant that's behind them, which I feel like any kid would do.
Have you ever played a video game? All I do is run around like probing, killing the civilians, and
Yeah.
seeing what you can get away
Just
with.
another attempt to set up this
These
kid
peop-
being better
Whoever made
than
that movie
anything.
has obviously never played like Grand Theft Auto, because all you do is like, what if instead of doing the mission, I just kill this person that's sitting over here?
I'm gonna run
See
over
what-
this hooker.
Right, see what happens. What if I just spill it all in his lap and then chew a hole in his eye?
Yeah.
That's how you play video games.
The people that made Ender's
Especially
Game
16-year-olds.
have never been around other people.
Well, they're
They've-
Mormons.
Yeah. Yeah, they spent their whole life on a
I am
colony.
curious to know how much involvement with the movie there was by like Mormons, if any. Because I
I
know
don't
Orson
know.
Scott Card was one, but I don't know how much that played into this. Is
I
this
don't think
something
it played into
is it
it.
really highly regarded in
I-
LDS circles? I have no idea.
I don't think it played. I
This
mean,
isn't
I
like
didn't,
the Battlefield Earth for Mormons or something.
Not as far as I could tell. I didn't look it up a lot, but it didn't seem like anyone. I got the distinct feeling watching the movie that no one associated with the book was associated with the movie,
Right.
because it was so completely tone deaf and had absolutely no idea what was good about the
And
book.
why
what,
people
this
liked
was a
it.
movie made for nobody by people who didn't understand the source material.
Yeah, because that's what's so weird is I don't think I would like the book, but I do think it's probably better, has to be more well done than the
Yes,
than the, like
yes.
even though I disagree with the ideas
finished the book.
of like people not wanting to kill the bugs, that's stupid. Like I'm sure it dealt with that better than this, which didn't do it at all. They didn't explain anything.
Yes. No, I finished reading the book. Like I said, I actually overtly enjoyed the first 2/3. It fell apart in the last third for me because of what I perceived to be a fundamental misunderstanding of human nature.
Right.
And it really fell apart at the very end because they didn't get into this too much in the movie. They showed a little bit of it. But at the very end, the kid actually starts a new religion. So
Like
at
bug worship?
At the end of the movie, they show him finding this alien egg, and it communicates telepathically with him, and it explains why they attacked the humans in the first place, and it apologizes, and then
But
he
you don't
makes
know
this
that in the
connection.
movie.
Yeah, he makes what? Are you sure you don't know that in the movie?
You don't know what the bug is telling him.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
say anything. It just kind of goes like, and then it's like, oh, he feels
All right.
bad. And,
Like I said, that's why I gave it a 0. I only knew what was happening because I'd read the book. But
even then, like, why wouldn't the bugs have just done that beforehand?
Oh,
Why
it
couldn't
was
they
so
communicate with
stupid. It was
people?
so-
Why didn't they just tell all the leaders, like, oh, my bad, we'll never attack you
what
again?
I'm saying is that's one thing the movie actually improved over the book
Right.
was not going into that mythology because the book, he travels like the known universe and comes up with this new religion and like way of rite of burial and like remembrances, and it's just
Sounds boring.
impressively stupid.
That sounds boring.
Actually.
Like, who cares?
Oh, it's embarrassing. I
Yeah.
thought it was embarrassing. You had this whole movie.
Cringeworthy.
Yeah, you had this book that was about strategy and calculations and some political intrigue, some
Right.
psychological intrigue, and then it ends with this. I think this was the Mormon touch. It ends with
Yeah.
him creating a new religion.
Yeah.
That I don't know. Just because he felt bad about killing some bugs.
Almost killing them all. Apparently, he didn't wipe them all out.
Yeah, he got
'cause
one.
They're on outskirts.
And there's a whole series of books. They thought they were going to make a series out of this movie. It's not going anywhere. This was like we said, it was 4 years ago. No peep on that one. Thank God.
Yeah. What did this kid ever do since then? Anything?
I don't know.
Hightower.
I think he's in other stuff. Maybe he's fine. I've never seen him in anything else.
Yeah. Same like
I got
Viola
the-
Davis. Maybe he and Viola Davis are out there
Yeah.
winning Oscars without us watching them.
Yeah, I got the impression that he was
Isn't she nominated for an Oscar?
pretty sure. Yeah, for Hidden Figures. She might have also been for The Help. She might have won for The Help. I don't know.
remember.
I like action movies, so I don't tend to
Yeah.
watch the super dramas.
Oscar grubbing kind of
Yeah,
dramas.
I don't care much for movies that have Oscars written all over them. Those they kind of bore me. So I don't know. The kid, he might be fine. I got the impression he was bad because he was fumbling around with the accent and because he hadn't gotten
the source-
used
and the
and because he
material
hadn't
is
gotten used to
crappy.
his
I mean, the
new
movie-
lower voice. Also
Right.
seemed to me to be an issue because he'd yell and it would crack. Like, man, this kid going through life changes in front of our eyes.
Which they may have wanted some of that, depending on how old they envisioned the kid being. They may have wanted him to seem like he was like semi-pubescent or whatever. But
Sure. All right. Well, I think you get the drift. Don't watch Ender's Game. Watch Starship Troopers
twice instead.
Exactly. Easy victory this time. Next time I'll try to maybe do a better match. So we've had one.
Doesn't matter.
that
There's no
it was
reason why they have to be
yeah,
close.
of our 3 episodes, we had one that was a tie. I found that disappointing. Last week's I think was probably a good
one.
matchup.
Yeah. We had a solid winner.
And then
but
this one
not a
was
blowout.
just trounced by a
blowout.
heavyweight. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for listening and giving a new podcast a chance. If you want to get in contact with us right now, email is the only way. Email address is faintpraisepodcast@gmail.com. I'll try to coerce Eric into
For all
doing
your comments and
some
nudes.
social media.
Yeah, no, everything can go to that email.
Until next time, we are signing off.
Bye-bye.